we're going to focus a little bit more on that story around Sarina Wiegman. Her press conference, her squad announcement today, a bit hijacked really by all the Mary Earps chat. I mean, she did say today that she was a big fan of robust attitudes and conversations in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Let's hear a little bit more from her.
I just know what I want to do is create an environment where we speak up, where I give clarity, where I always communicate with players when it's necessary, and also I make decisions to win. I've really enjoyed working with Mary. She's retired now, and we had incredible times, and I always cherish that.
There we are. Uma has stuck around because she's been keeping an eye on this story. It's probably the first time she's had a press conference like this, isn't it, Sarina Wiegman, where she's got a bit knocked. I mean, a lot of England men managers have had it for years, but can we just talk about football? I mean, yeah, that's what she said at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, I mean, the journalist went straight in and asked her about Mary Earps straight off the back of, kind of opening the floor. And I think Sarina Wiegman would have known that she was going to be asked about this. It's not the kind of thing she'll be wanting to talk about. Just a couple of months ago, we were talking about how England won the Euros again. And I think that was a conversation a lot of people didn't expect us to be having. Unfortunately, around the Euros, it wasn't just Mary Earps. There was Millie Bright, Fran Kirby, a lot of these retirements that just have raised the question of whether everything is right in the England camp. And I think, look at how Sarina Wiegman speaks. She speaks so well about everything. And I think she doesn't want to go at any of her players, past or present. We saw Sonia Bompastor, of course, Chelsea boss, really go in on Mary Earps and basically say, look, Hannah's the one who's got all this class. But for me, what comes across, we had Mary Earps on Leanne Sanderson's Women's Football Show a couple of weeks ago, and it was a really emotional interview. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it on our social channels. But it's sad. I think whatever you think of the way that Mary Earps has approached this scenario, maybe the timing was right. I think she probably should have waited until we're many years down the line. Don't go after, somebody who's just won the Euros yet again and the keeper who's actually won it for us. But at the end of the day, this is somebody who knew what it was like to be out of the England fold. She wasn't in it under Phil Neville. She came back in, had that second chance. And obviously she feels a certain way about the fact that Hannah Hampton, who maybe was disruptive in previous camps, has been given this chance over her. She's 7 years younger than her. That has to be hard to watch. But I think Sarina Wiegman, credit to her for the way she's dealt with that today. I think she's spoken really well.
Did she address whether Hannah Hampton had ever been a disruptive force? She clearly decided she didn't want to get involved in any of that. But, we keep hearing these stories. No one is specifically saying it, which makes it a whole lot harder for anybody to make a judgment. So you've got this air of ambiguity around it, but I take it Sarina Wiegman didn't want to get involved in any of that at all.
No, she's not said anything. And I suppose while Hannah Hampton is her number one keeper, she's not going to say anything about her behaviour. What we do know about Hannah Hampton is it was reported she was left out of an England squad at one point due to her behaviour. But at that time, she was kind of 20 years old, really young, almost a child. And I think whatever she may have behaved like in the past, she then, became the number one keeper under Emma Hayes, under Carla Ward, and now under Sarina Wiegman, and of course under Sonia Bompastor. You don't get to a position like that if you haven't cleared up, those issues that you have, and you're at least in a position where you can maintain that number one spot. So I think completely understand that, maybe Mary Earps is feeling, look, I won us the Euros the first time. I wanted a chance to do that. And I thought she was going to be that person heading into the Euros this year. But ultimately, Sarina Wiegman, she's saying, I have no regrets. And why would she, after all, she won the Euros again?
That's true.
I just think Mary Earps has been really badly advised somewhere along the line. I don't know what they were trying to achieve with this book, with these revelations. She should have been advised that will blow up, especially as you say, while they're still playing. And you've got a manager in Sarina Wiegman who does call it out. She does offer clarity to her players, and we're seeing it with Thomas Tuchel now. He is offering clarity. He is leaving people out. They're not scared to do that anymore. And it's nice actually to have England managers who do tell you the truth and tell you what's happening. It's what we've always asked for.
And I think also, Charlie, you're absolutely right there, because it raises the question around, especially in women's football, we've seen, I think so many of the lionesses have been built up into these larger-than-life characters where they're meant to be untouchable. Mary Earps, ever since she kind of won us the Euros, her behaviour in the World Cup final, just being that really boss woman figure, I think we would describe it as. And now you're kind of getting to a point where you realise, actually, she's just a human. She's just a woman who is trying to make her way in football and who now has come under so much pressure. And she has been badly advised. And that, I hope, is a lesson, I think, to, any other characters in the world of women's football, that actually this thing about reputation, it is really fragile, and I hope she's being looked after. I know she's got support. I was glad to see. I know she got boos at Old Trafford the other day when she came back, but she also had cheers and young girls coming up and asking for her autograph, because whatever she said in that autobiography, she will always be the first England keeper to have won us the Euros, and she has to be remembered.
In an ageing squad.
Yeah.
In an ageing squad, and that was the point. They were an ageing squad. There was always going to be a shift in who came in next. And also, we glorify Gazza's antics, everything he got up to in training, all those things. I'm not just saying Gazza. There's always been players who've disrupted the apple cart. If Hannah Hampton's doing that, I think it's difficult if you're a goalkeeper because you're working closely with two other people at all times. But just hijinks of a 20-year-old.
The thing is, we don't know.
We don't know what it was.
That's the final question, really. I said immediately after all this stuff broke, I may have been to Shaban, and that won't Hannah Hampton want to come out and have her say, stand her corner? And Shaban's feeling was, don't think she will. She'll just sort of keep her counsel and keep quiet. And that's the way it's kind of been. So you sensed, because there's nothing specifically to answer to, because at the moment it's just these stories that she's a bit disruptive. What does that mean? There's nothing really for her to address specifically, is there?
I mean, I think she's answering all on the pitch at the moment. You know, she's come out, that her performance in the penalty shootout at the Euros, in the final. She won the treble with Chelsea. Chelsea will probably be on track to win something else this season. And Hannah Hampton is such a big part of that. It's like you said, exactly. They're footballers, and her performances on the pitch right now, she is the best keeper in the world, and that's
she can't see properly. Imagine if she could see properly.
Yeah.
Imagine how good she'd be.
Thanks
Thanks
very much. Gurav there getting us up to speed on that. I'm sure you hear a little bit more of that later on talkSPORT.